ongoing. You have an email, or you should shortly have an email in your inbox about the tree sale.
Council received one this afternoon.
Okay. Please push that out.
Next deadline is December 22nd
Yes.
to order.
Yep.
For delivery on or around January 6th, folks. And so that is, those can be planted, and they're pretty sizable 6-foot trees, so it's a great gift. And then if you have neighborhoods that have wanted to be doing trees as traffic calming or working in a concerted effort, there's going to be how many more order windows?
2 or 3. I think it's 3.
Okay, so there'll be like a February deadline and a March deadline. March is kind of pushing it on tree planting.
Yes.
So for those who are just swamped by the holidays, that next January or February deadline would be great.
Okay.
I'll ask, do you know how many trees have been sold?
I do not. I actually asked that this afternoon, and they're getting that information.
144 as
Wow.
of the last
Okay.
ordering. Yeah, but that doesn't include this order deadline. So that was as of the last deadline. So.
And I think sometimes it's a mindset thing too. People aren't in the mindset of planting trees right now, so that's why we want you to push the information out as much as possible.
Ideal. Also, too, I mean, I sense in neighborhoods, everybody's mental barrier is, I don't know how to plant a tree.
Yeah.
This you can add, I think, just $50 to the price of the tree, and it will be planted for you or for whomever you buy the tree for. So that's a great asset. So we thank the Metro Tree Advisory Committee, which is under the umbrella of Metro Public Works and Beautification, for that. And then
Christmas tree recycling. So if you have a real tree, take everything off of it. You can take it to one of the many locations that is listed on our website. I think there are 9 of them around the county between December 26th and February 17th of 2020. And you can recycle your Christmas tree. They're essentially mulching your Christmas tree. It's a great use of it rather than just setting it on the curb and hoping that it gets picked up in the next brush collection. So that's a great thing. There's more information. We're going to be pushing it out on social media over the next couple of days. You might see Right of Way Ray promoting it on some of our social media. And then Councilmember Benedict is not here, so I'm just going to say Special Committee on Sidewalks is meeting tomorrow at East Park Community Center at 6 o'clock. That is all I have.
I have one more question for you, if you don't mind, Madam Chair. So the traffic calming program opens on January 6th.
Yes.
And I guess my biggest question, knowing that I have at least one neighborhood that has applied previously, do they need to reapply?
Did they apply in the first window or the second?
I'll have to check. I think it was the second.
So I'm not sure exactly what the policy is going to be, but I do know that the longer there is a time in between, the less likely it's going to be an automatic renewal, so to speak. If you apply in January, we're going to reconsider you in the second window of the year. I'm not sure if those who applied last January will be reconsidered as part of this January or not. I don't know the
what
answer.
you're saying, the most recent. So that's crucial information. So if you could.
So we have a whole traffic calming push that is going to be coming out to you all, as well as on social media and on our website as well. It's kind of the next thing once we get past tree sale and Christmas tree recycling. That's the next thing to tackle. Right of Way Ray may also be talking about that.
Maybe can I ask one unrelated
please.
question?
Yeah.
I have been working on letting people know the brush pickup schedule and the street sweeping schedule, because it's much more effective if the brush is out there or the cars are moved off the street. But I know brush pickup has been behind because of the storms, and the street sweeping was like a day or two or something behind. And so I would love to, I think it makes both of those more effective if there's just a way to let us know we're about a week behind, or if y'all can say, here's the way we're going to always stay on schedule, or we're never on schedule, or I'm not even sure how, but.
And just to follow up with that, the contractor who does the street sweeping, they're up for renewal coming up soon, and we're reissuing that contract or that RFP.
Okay.
And we actually have in there in the new contract penalties for exactly what you're saying, getting off schedule and being behind and not picking up. And so hopefully that'll be.
So we should assume that they're on schedule.
Yes.
In general.
Yes.
Okay. We can just work out some effective communication on that, then I think we can make that program do its job even better. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
In that same vein, and Ms. Wallstrom, this kind of bridges across Public Works and Stormwater. Last we spoke about street cleaning for bike lanes. That's been maybe 2 budget cycles previously. We had looked at buying the equipment for that in the 4%, but Ms. Wallstrom, you said that our street sweeping provider was going to buy that equipment. Is that?
It was my understanding that we met with Public Works about those, and so to protect the bike lanes, a standard sweeper can't
Right,
get
so
in
it'd be
there. And
smaller.
so it was our understanding that the contractor was purchasing equipment so that he could give us a rate to sweep those on a
Okay,
per
that's
mile
over a
basis.
year ago now. Where are we?
Is that?
I thought that we had already begun that, but I'll have to go back and
Yeah,
check.
let's double check.
Okay, so if you'll make sure to report
Okay.
back to this committee on that next time,
Okay.
where we are on that, and then if you find in the intervening time that we're not where we should be on that, you need to make sure that's reflected in that RFP, please. Okay, thank you. Alrighty, Water Department, anything else to share by way of staff report? Okay, all right, well, that touches everything I was gonna do for chair report, so all good. We have a consent agenda, colleagues, today, so, we have got 3, 4, 5 resolutions and bills on consent. I have to read them into the record, but please listen closely if there's anything that you want to remove from consent. Resolution RS 2019-137, Toombs, Gamble, and others approves an application for a hazard mitigation grant for the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, to the Metro Nashville Water and Sewerage Services Department for flood mitigation. BL 2019-96, Murphy and Henderson adopts the Geographic Information Systems GIS street and alley centerline layer with the recordation of renaming, additions, and deletions of acceptances and abandonments as reflected on the centerline layer to date as the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance record for the Metro government. BL 2019-98, Withers Murphy Henderson abandons existing water main and easements and to accept new water mains, fire hydrant assemblies, and easements for property located at 750 South 5th Street. BL 2019-99, O'Connell, Murphy, and Henderson abandons existing public water main and to accept new public water main for properties located at 200 and 308 12th Avenue North. BL 2019-100, Stiles, Murphy, and Henderson abandons existing public water main, one fire hydrant assembly, and easements to accept a new fire hydrant assembly and easements for property located at 5510 Crossings Circle. Do I have a motion for the consent agenda? Okay, having a motion and a second. Okay, and are there any questions about this? Anything that needs to be removed? No. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Any against? No. Okay. We recommend all those bills on consent for approval. Okay. Moving on to resolutions not on consent. Resolution RS 2019-135, Welsh, Johnston, and others, I see Council Lady Welsh here, approves a memorandum of understanding between the Metro Transit Authority and Metro Public Works and approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation, TDOT, and the Department of Public Works for the acceptance of work in connection with the construction of intersection improvements on Nolensville Pike from McNally Drive to Natchez Court. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Councilor Lady Welsh, anything that you want to share about this bill?
This is just a very dangerous and unattended intersection that's had a lot of problems. So these are going to be safety changes, striping, helping new transit shelters and things like that. So it'll make it much more safe for the people in the district.
Great, I appreciate that. Can anybody at Public Works speak to, this seems to be maybe the second or third that we've seen of various portions moving down Nolensville Pike.
To my knowledge, it's a part of the Envision Nolensville. This is something that the planning department solicited and got an application approved with TDOT. They had a multimodal grant to do these types of safety projects. So Metro Planning did not have the infrastructure, of course, and neither did MTA to do the work. So we entered into an agreement with MTA and the state of Tennessee to do the job, and they're going to reimburse us for all that work. That's what the memorandum of agreement is with, or understanding is with the MTA. They'll reimburse the 5%, TDOT's going to cover the 95% of the other amount that goes into building, doing the project. So it's a good project.
Yeah.
Keep on coming.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. And yeah, for those listening, that's a state route. So, and one of our most dangerous for people crossing. So that's good to see. Any other questions, colleagues? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, any against? Okay, we recommend approval. RS 2019-136, Welsh, Johnson, others. It looks like next time we do an agenda, we combine these two together. So approves an application for a multimodal access grant from TDOT to Metro Public Works for safety and access improvements at the intersection of Nolensville Pike and McNally Drive. So that is on the same subject that we just inquired. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any against? Thank you, Councilor Welsh. Okay, bills on second reading. BL 2019-30, Murphy amends Metro Code Chapter 16.04 to restrict barbed wire and/or razor wire fencing along arterials and collector roadways within the urban zoning overlay district and to cross-reference the existing restrictions on barbed wire and/or razor wire fencing along sidewalks in the urban services district. I believe we have a proposed amendment. Do you want to, let's see, I guess I can get the amendment before us. Thank you. Any second?
Second.
Okay, the amendment is before us. Council Lady, do you want to speak on the amendment?
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to remember, I think I may have been in here before when I deferred it and explained it. So basically, this is a situation where I turned in a lot of barbed wire that I felt was in violation of the codes. Codes didn't do anything with it because surprisingly it was a public works thing in this instance. And so at this point, the legislation had been filed. In communication with our staff, I was going to pull it, but because of some communications between Public Works and what they were telling property owners and the amendment before you, that kind of cleans up what Matthew had drafted for me. And so that's why the amendment is here, is to kind of clean up. And what's great about this is it makes it very clear in the code referencing the other section about Public Works of what is under codes and what is under Public Works. So with that, I ask for approval to make our streets more pedestrian friendly to walk on.
Okay, so colleagues, the added language in the amendment is just provided that the section shall not be construed to prevent anyone from stretching a single strand of barbed wire on the top of any fence over 7 feet high to prevent anyone from climbing over the same. Okay, so that's the added
It still
language.
provides like security if you wanted barbed wire and so forth.
Okay, alrighty, so now that we've discussed the amendment, all in favor of that amendment?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if there's been any injuries as a result of this barbed wire and razor wire that's there?
Not that I'm aware. I mean, I'm sure there's injuries if somebody tried to climb over. Not that I'm aware. And when Matthew, the only concerns that I had heard about this legislation was from AT&T. And so AT&T sent, because this has been deferred for a little bit, so it's been out there for a while. So AT&T contacted me. They sent us a list of properties they felt would be affected by this legislation. I had Matthew run all of those properties, and literally, like, none of them were actually affected by it. So I don't know of any injuries, but really what I'm going after is, like, when you're walking down the sidewalk and there's antlers, like similar to my antlers, sticking out over the sidewalk, that's not friendly. And it just wasn't being enforced. And so part of this, hooray to Public Works that I think they weren't sure, they didn't even know they were supposed to be enforcing it. So it kind of clears it up, cleans it up, and moving forward, both departments know where their role is.
Okay, so all in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay. Any against? Okay, so now I need a motion for the bill as amended, please.
Bill is amended.
Okay, and all in favor of the bill as amended?
Aye.
Okay, any against? Okay, we recommend approval as amended.
And Council Lady, I think that's everything I have in front of you.
Let me check.
You have a sewer.
Let's see.
Oh, if you've got 50, no.
You have 101, but I'm also on that bill, and I think perhaps
That is the one that, let's defer that until a council member signs on to, wait,
No,
the
that's-
101 is Pulley.
Yeah, we'll wait for Councilman Pulley, or I think I have a letter here, so.
Whichever one is the other one that I have before you.
85.
Oh, 96.
Okay.
90, no, sorry.
Yeah, that's on consent.
You know what, we just passed that on consent, so.
Okay, well, we'll figure out,
86.
oh, it's,
86?
85 and 86.
85 is to be deferred one meeting.
They've already been approved by the committee.
Okay.
Okay, well, we'll just defer that on the floor. We're waiting for a council member to sign on.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Okay, BL 2019-97, Van Reese, Mendez, and others approves and authorizes the Director of Public Property Administration or his designee to accept the donation of real property, including the existing water pumping station and the surrounding pump house building located at Oakwood Avenue, unnumbered, for Metro Water Services. We have a letter to approve from the sponsor. Okay, all in favor? Okay, and then, let's see, BL 2019-101 authorizes the Metro government to negotiate and accept permanent and temporary easements for the Battlefield Drive Stormwater Improvement Project for 43 properties located along Battlefield Drive. There's a letter to approve, but I had understood that that would perhaps be deferred or pulled, or what?
I just talked to the councilman. He wanted to go ahead and move forward with to the subcommittees.
Okay, and
And
staff,
not pulling.
staff supports that as well? Okay,
I think the idea is that he wanted to go ahead and have legislation in place so that at some point in the future, if they can do it,
okay.
then they will.
All right, so we have a letter from the sponsor, and staff supports that as well. Do I have a motion?
So then,
Question.
Yes, question.
So is this just stormwater in the street, or is this something on the backside? related to?
It's along the street. It's basically the roadside ditch is also a stream.
Gotcha.
And we've been trying to come up with a feasible project, and at this point, we really don't have a feasible project yet. And typically, we put the legislation out to go get easements ahead of the project being designed, because that usually takes some time. So we're not ready to move forward with the project, but the council wanted the legislation to be there in case we do get a
Gotcha.
project that we could do, that we have the authority to go get the easements that we need.
And when there's a stream there, do you now have to preserve the stream as
Yes,
water?
this is a very complicated situation,
Okay.
because it's we're very limited to both the space that we have and the fact that it is a designated stream. We're very limited to what we can actually do and how much improvement we can make over the situation.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, any against? All right. Our last item is a late filed resolution. It does not have a number, but it's a resolution approving an amendment to an extension of a contract between Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County and Waste Industries of Tennessee, LLC, to provide solid waste collection services for the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Okay,
Questions?
discussion, questions?
How long is this contract for?
5 years.
Have we seen the contract?
It's a renewal of an existing contract. So contract has been in effect for the last 15 years. Is Waste Industries, and they're currently servicing portions of District 2, 5, 6, 8, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, and 24.
Would it be possible to, is it like imminent that it's,
Yes.
It expires on the 31st of this month.
did we not know that?
We discussed it at the previous meeting.
No, ma'am, that's waste management.
That's waste management, and that
This is
was
the hauling.
Part of the problem.
That was part of the problem, was we have deferred waste management for further negotiations, and Waste Industries, the name is so close, it got caught up, and several people delayed the signatures, and there were some other items that happened during that process, and that's why it did not get on the agenda this time.
How does this relate with the zero waste master plan and hopes to move forward with that?
I'm so sorry. It's not recycling, but it is solid waste, so we need to be picking the trash up per health codes.
Okay, so best I understand from the call end of day yesterday, this is the last 5-year renewal and a 20-year contract.
Correct.
You expressed that the performance has been solid for 15 years. With this extension, no prices will be raised for 2 years going forward, and then subsequent to that, it can be raised per the Consumer Price Index, but that raise is capped at 3%.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What do we pay?
Currently, we are paying $6.73 per cart. And that is because, per month, per cart per month. And that is because this is a semi-automated collection. So there have to be 2 people on the truck, one driving and one in the back, attaching the cart to the lift.
So is this the alley?
It's alley collections.
Is there any recourse in here for carts that are left lying in the alley? I mean, I get more calls on alley pickup than I do on anything else. So what do you have in their contract?
They need to go into the 311. They need to be phoned into 311 so that we can track that performance and talk with the vendor about it.
And then what do we do if the vendor's not performing?
It's the same thing that it was a standard contract that was written 15 years ago. So we can do liquidated damages for some of the items and actually reduce their invoice. We can also, if they don't improve their performance, go back and completely
Is there a
dissolve the contract.
monthly threshold that once they have, I'm just picking a number, 20 of those, then after that they're paying, or we're withholding, say, $10 per can, or?
There are some thresholds on some of the liquidated damages and not on others. I would have to go back and look at the
No,
contract.
and I get it that it's just
Right.
a renewal, but
But what we have been told too is industry standard on misses is 1%. So.
Okay, so speak
and
to
they've
that
got
on
they've
misses,
got
because
12,000.
we as council members, those are the calls that we get all the time. They missed our street, they,
Right,
et cetera,
and
et cetera.
like I said, Waste Industries only has 12,000 pickups as opposed to Red River, which has over 100,000 pickups. So Waste Industries we have not had any major issues with them at all.
And is that because this contract is particular to alleys, or why the disparity between the two?
It's just different vendors, different trucks, different methods of handling their personnel, different,
Do they do all the
completely different
districts that you
contractors. Pardon?
So do they do all the districts that you mentioned, and Red River does the
No,
other
just
districts?
portions of those districts. And then Public Works also has trash routes that we run. So,
I can vouch for Waste Industries quality from another role I have.
Awfully mysterious, Council.
Another government role, put it that way.
How many trash pickups does Public Works do?
that I don't have right off the top of my head. I'll have to go back and look that up.
Okay, so I had inquired about, let's see, just kind of the life of this contract, the increases and so forth, and you were gonna look at kind of the history of that over the 15 years.
Right. I looked at the 15 years. Every year they average 160 additional carts that get added to their contract because of development and other companies and residences that come in. And the average increase over the last 15 years is 2.33% a year. And when they started the contract, their curbside rate was $5.52.
Okay, so 552, 15 years ago.
Yes.
Average adding 160 carts a year. How many carts have been added in the last 5 years?
That I do not know. I just looked up beginning to current.
All right, and then can you also explain kind of the confusion or the conflation? So before this committee, we had a special meeting with Waste Management regarding the recycling contract.
Correct.
Can you remind me if that we spoke about that has not been before us yet?
No, it has not.
Okay, what's
It's
the
in
hold
further
up?
negotiations because of the price increase that was with that, and the administration is looking at that again.
Okay.
To review it and see if there's anything else that can be done.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, so colleagues, any other questions for Ms. Wallstrom or Ms. Constonis about extending or the renewal of this contract for 5 more years for
And then what's the timing on the Red River contract?
It's the same time, so
expire at
they
the same
will both
time.
expire at the same time in 5 years.
And when did we redo the Red River contract?
We renewed it a year and a half to 2 years ago because they cut us a deal on their rate if we went ahead and renewed it in advance of the 5-year window, because they were looking at investing in equipment and some other items that made it a good deal for us to go ahead and do that at that time.
So they'll both expire in 2024?
Yes.
End of 2024?
Not to continue down a tangent, but I'm going to continue down a tangent. Is that when the requirement was taken out regarding the equipment had to be so new or something?
Correct. The last renewal, it was after the first 10 years. Whenever we renewed for an additional of the first 5 years, that's when the equipment was pulled out, that it
Was it
didn't
just
have to
for
be
Red River, or?
It was for both. Red River and Waste Industries.
Okay. Sorry, Madam Chair.
No worries, that's fine. And so, Ms. Wallstrom, you're going to get back to us about just sort of the split on what Public Works is running trash-wise comparatively, and our cost, or the cost of Public Works for doing that as well, please.
Okay, yes.
Just for
I won't
comparison
be able to
purposes.
get it tonight. But
Oh, no, of course not.
Yeah.
No, just by next meeting. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any against? Any other things to share, colleagues, related to Public Works or the Water Department? Okay, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.